Are you tired of farming and need a strong and efficient solo base? The Trophy V3 comes with a new 360-degree shooting floor, with insane turret protection utilizing heartbeat sensors. The base comes with a cozy interior with a vending machine, farm plots, lots of storage, and an early defense shooting floor, with 3 hidden loot rooms behind these doorways. It expands from a simple egg core that we're all used to, and the TC is protected by at least 3 walls, offering a protection of at least 27 rockets in this configuration. Pair this with an easy to use roof bunker to seal your core, and the compact footprint, the Trophy might be the base for you. Let's get right into the tour. So from the outside of the base, we have these double doors that can be connected to heartbeat sensors that allow turrets to shoot down around your base. These can be opened manually from the shooting floor, I will show that later. So from the outside, it's a very basic eggshell, similar to the other trophies that I've done before, with the 3 walls towards the TC. We've actually replaced this window with a vending machine, so you can use this base as a shop later on into the wipe if you're using it as a starter base. So we enter through a simple single door airlock into the core, where we have our vending machine access, a little farm area, as well as a jump up to our early game shooting floor peaks that allow us to use these petricos outside the base, and we use this turned off campfire to ramp up. We also have a tiny angle back up the side of the base that can watch ladders up to your roof. Then behind you, you'll find one of the 3 hidden loot room areas. Once raiders find this, they're not exactly hidden, but it just increases a bit more of the storage within the base, and they're actually quite expensive to get to, considering they are separated into 3 separate jump ups. And then we have 2 windowed loot rooms that you will seal off with a glass window when you log off. You can access all of these large boxes, which are protected by 2 walls from the inside of your core. And then you have a respawn area with a locker. There's enough space here for 2 beds and 2 sleeping bags. Of course, it depends how many people you're playing with. And then we have another farm area in this corner here, and then another jump up similar to the one before with 3 large boxes behind. And you have this on all 3 sides, and then we have electric furnaces beneath this peak here, as you can see here. And then we have some other optional deployable space, totally up to you what you put here, but I recommend putting your workbenches or research bench or something like that around this area. And below here we have our core with a ladder hatch. You can replace with just a simple ladder if you prefer to be a bit more open. It depends how many people you play with. And this here is actually our bunker. So this triangle foundation is armored and raised, and then we have a upgraded wooden foundation here that we can then place our roof, and then we can upgrade this to sheet metal or armored depending on what you would prefer. And then once you log back on, you can demolish this foundation here and the roof will fall, and then you can just place the foundation back to use your base as it was. And I've actually gone for a very simple core that was completely open, so you can move around a lot easier. I'm sure you can add a lot more storage if you add triangles for your loot room. And then here is the upkeep of the base. So coming back up into the second floor of the base, you'll notice the ladder hatch here that actually opens so it blocks raiders from advancing any further. So if this ladder hatch is dropped down, you cannot pass it without blowing it. This turret actually covers this ladder hatch, and naturally as raiders raid your base, for example when this garage door is down and they end up splashing between all 3, this ladder hatch will get destroyed alongside the 2 garage doors, and that allows this turret position right here to shoot directly down through the door path, which is a very good position to put your first turret that you get. Of course, when you get more, you can put your 3 on the outside and then your 3 in the central shooting floor. And then once you have this ladder hatch here, you can use it even without the skins. You can use standard sheet metal here and it won't block your jump up. And then we have a 360-degree shooting floor using these vertical embrasures. A very simple shooting floor, but very effective for longer ranges, as well as quite close to your base. And then by taking off these window pieces here, we can actually manually use these double doors to shoot directly in the way that we can't usually see. And these turrets will be connected to heartbeat sensors if you want to automate it. And then this roof is honeycombed twice, so you can upgrade this to metal as well, so it's a lot more. And then we have a windmill on top of the roof to to give us some electrical generation. That is pretty much the base complete. So let's get right into the build. So to start off the build, you want to place down your square where your TC will be. You want to place this on the side where you think you're least likely to get raided. So against a wall or a cliff is the best idea. So once you've done this, you can claim your build spot. And then place your TC in this corner here, like so. And then at your temporary double door, this will be a sheet metal door later once you've got sheet metal, and then you can also replace it with a garage door after that. When you're ready to expand, place a triangle and then a square to the right hand side, and then expand like so. And then adding doorways. This is a way we can also airlock our initial starter, and you can also put some deployables here at the beginning of wipe. So after that, it's very important that this square that you place here, you don't upgrade to stone or higher than that. So you want to keep it only to be wood, as this is where you will demolish and destroy your bunker later on in the build. If you want to place 2 foundations on either side, you technically don't need this one at this stage if you don't have the resources, but it's neater if you just do it now. Then you want to raise a triangle foundation like this, and we will eventually upgrade this to armored. But for now, it can be stone. And then we can wall in like so, with half walls like this. Then you can also use this to jump up onto your second floor. So now it's actually quite a complicated expansion to try and seal in the second floor jump up. We want to seal in on these 2 sides with full walls, and then put a double door frame here. Now on this side we will seal this completely because it covers the soft side of the foundation that is our bunker. So we can upgrade all of this like this. And then on either side of here will be 2 half walls. And then on these sides here will be full walls. And then put a floor on top. And then on this side here will actually be another lot of half walls, I believe. No. We've already placed the second lot of half walls here. So we want to add window frames here, a floor piece, and then a single door here. Then we can seal in like this. And then at this stage, if you don't have a ladder, or a ladder hatch I should say, you can add a frame like this to jump up onto, or you can use a twig staircase like this. If you remove this door, it's a lot easier to place. You can place a twig staircase like this, use that as a jump up, or you can place furnaces that line the back wall like this. Another way of jumping up. So there are definitely multiple ways you can jump up using this configuration. We will eventually put a low wall here, just to protect a bit of the raid cost into here. We will actually add a frame straight away, and we will add a ladder hatch just to complete this area. And then add a single door just to seal in the windows if you haven't got windows yet. Eventually these will be Patrico peaks, so we'll put horizontal embrasures in here later. And then we can add we can move this double door down here. We'll put a garage door here, and then we'll move the double door up to the top because it's easier to open. This is what the base should look like. So once you've done this, you'll notice that you won't be able to jump up onto your entrance. So what we do to fix that is we just simply expand the other 2 triangles that you've also placed on this side out a little bit, and then you can place a square here. And then we will eventually place a jump up like this, and this will be upgraded. The reason we don't upgrade it yet is because it can be a bit glitchy sometimes when placing these foundations on either side. So feel free to place these now, and then you can go ahead and upgrade it just in case you have that glitch. And then we can add a floor piece here, and then another floor piece. And we can actually honeycomb the base at this stage. So we want to go around adding triangles to each of the squares. And then 2 triangles off each of these. And then squares here. So you want to go square here, triangle here, square here, triangle off your windows. Square, triangle, square, and then complete it with a triangle. It should look like this pattern from above. And at this stage, we can actually leave the inner wall stone and never have to upgrade this to metal because it just prevents splash damage. It doesn't actually increase the raid cost. We can do that. We can also upgrade these foundations to metal because we won't be able to access these later on in the build. We'll upgrade these now, making sure to add your wall in the middle. And then these should be upgraded to metal, these outer walls. Once again, stone in the middle. Floor pieces we will upgrade later. And then walls to metal like this. And then of course, the end parts will need to be added now. We'll upgrade this foundation for the same reason. And then this is all metal. And this is what it should look like. And actually at this stage we want to cover the fact that we have a bunker. We want to hide this, so we'll armor this. Sheet metal all of these walls. Half walls. And then upgrade the floor piece here. As well as add the honeycomb onto these two triangles. But the thing is, it's up to you whether you go straight to metal, right? You can upgrade all of these areas later on in the build. So for now, we'll actually upgrade these just to stone. And all of the outer base will be left stone. But of course, if you have the resources later on, you can just upgrade the whole base to metal on the outside. So we'll do that on all of these areas right now. And then in between, we'll add these roof pieces. And that will complete all of the honeycomb on the lower floor. So we will then expand this floor here, upgrading metal. And then on the side opposite your double door, so over here, you want to place two single doors. One on the left should be upgraded to metal, one on the right should be left stone. And then another stone one in the middle with a double door on the left hand side like this. And then this should be a wall. And you want to upgrade this to metal eventually. It can be left stone at the beginning, but that is to equate the door raid cost into that path. Then you can upgrade these to stone. And at this stage you won't probably have a vending machine. So we want to add two doorways like this. And eventually we will replace this one with a vending machine, which we'll do at this stage. And then on these corners, you want to repeat what you did over here. So we'll do that by doing half walls, windows, and then flooring in the top with a half height wall. And then you can add these low walls later if that's a little bit easier. This is where I had the planters put in. And then we can add our low walls after, if that's a little bit easier. And then if we jump up like this middle triangle will be a frame. But at this stage you can add just a wooden one and then break it later. And this will also be a doorway, like this. This acts as kind of an early game shooting floor. You can use these just to peek out of, and you can add your horizontal embrasures now that face inwards. Quite important you do this, otherwise you won't get the correct angles outside the peaks. Like this. And then you can add doorways as well. You want to make sure they open outwards, like I'm doing here. So then you can actually access the box when you place it later. But you can just flip these around later if you want to. Now we'll just complete the inside, the second floor real quick. So we want to add half walls here. But then before we window this off, you want to upgrade these two floors on both sides. And these will eventually be metal, so I'll just put them to metal straight away. And then when you upgrade these walls to metal, you want to flip them. so you can't soft slide into that loot room. And then upgrade all of this as well. That is what it should look like. And then you can add double door frames. Add a single door here for the airlock. And then you want to add a garage door here, and then the rollers of these garage doors should face outwards from the triangle, otherwise you won't be able to get onto your shooting floor. You want to then replace this double door with another garage door. And then this is where our boxes will and this is where our boxes will go. You can add these now if you want to. It's up to you. Once you have then hatcheted out this triangle, we will replace it with a frame. And then a ladder hatch. You could have done this instantly. And you want to make sure that the ladder opens towards this garage door. So this is towards your entrance path. This means that raiders can't get past when it's open like this. And it also allows you an angle when you're up the top of the shooting floor to defend a door raid. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go around with metal, with half walls and then window frames on top. It should look like this. You will also add window frame here, but this can be left stone. So for now you can just leave this stone. And then on top you can leave all of this stone as well. For now, like this. And then before we seal it in with the roof pieces, we want to add half walls and then 2 floor pieces on either side. Now with vanilla stone skin, you won't be able to access your roof because it blocks the ladder hatch triangle. So to fix this, you'll want to either upgrade to a skinned version stone you can then use to a ladder hatch, as you can see, or you can then replace it with sheet metal, which I do recommend doing, and then you'll be able to just go straight through the model because it's not solid. And you can actually just use the shooting floor right now, or eventually you will want to add these embrasures just to give you a little bit more cover. You want to leave these ones open because you want to access the garage doors. You can open and close them, or the double doors, it depends what you use. So now on the outside here, we'll add double door frames that connect to this wall and these 2 half walls and window. This will all be upgraded as well. So we can just go ahead and do that now. You want to also upgrade the floor piece. And now we add half wall floors. That will then give us the Patrico peaks. And then on these sides here, we just add our triangle floor pieces. You want to also add low walls in the opposite spots. Like this. And then you can also add your double door frames. This is where your turret will be. So sometimes you'll struggle to place this turret because it will be because of these frames. So you can either upgrade once again to a skinned version, or you can upgrade to sheet metal. That also works for placing them. Then you want to repeat this on all sides. So in this case we'll upgrade to metal and just show that it does work. And then you can add your garage doors or double doors. You want to make sure your double doors open outwards if you are using double doors. Otherwise it blocks the turret angle. Or if you use garage doors, you want to make sure the roller faces inwards. But this will show the turret. That is the issue with using garage doors. As you can see, it shows the turret and you can damage it. So I'd actually recommend using double doors. And then on the roof, you can just build up on the side of the base. And then get your way up to the roof, and then you can complete this by just going around with floor pieces Make sure you add the little triangle in the middle before you seal it in. It's a little bit easier. But then before you add this roof ramp here, and this is only if you're adding a windmill on top of the base, you want to support this area by adding frames here and then sealing it in, and this will give you enough support so you can add a spot for a windmill like this. There we are. That is pretty much just the shell of the base complete. I've missed a window here. And then you can add your turrets on the inside of the base. Of course, feel free to add all 6 turrets, but I'd actually recommend placing this turret here first, as it watches down through the ladder hatch into the entrance. So when they blow this ladder hatch, accidentally when blowing this garage door, this turret will be showing. It's very important you place that one first. Then what we can do now is run through some deployables, starting from the inside of the base. We will also want to upgrade all of the inner part to sheet metal, and then eventually you will want to armor floor pieces like this, and then just this right hand side where the TC is. So I actually like to leave this open instead of adding the triangle shelf units, so this just increases a bit more mobility around the starter and the base later. If you're in a bigger group, feel free to do half walls and add floor triangles as well. Upgrading to metal does help with the placement of these large boxes. And then you can add any bags down here. Usually you can fit 1, or you might need to delete this one for another one if you wanted 2 people down here to be able to spawn and open the bunker. You can seal the bunker like this, upgrading to metal, and then waking up and hatcheting this wood out. You can simply upgrade just to wood when you go to seal it again. And then in this corner here, we will add electric furnaces. This electric furnace placement can be a bit awkward. So you might need to place these before you place the low wall. But I'm sure using the new shift mechanic, you can still place these. So once you place... What I like to do is place this large box here just to help with the placement. Get the angle down. Like this. And then once you've done that, you actually have space for a locker, and you can access all the boxes still. And you can then repeat the same method on this side as well. And you place your level 2 and other deployables up here. Might actually be easier if this locker isn't here. Then you can replace the locker. And there is space for beds to respawn. It might just help if you upgrade the double doorway. You might also be able to add some boxes down here as well. I think you can just about fit this if you upgrade this. Maybe not. Might have to just do some boxes here. Then on these windows you can add horizontal embrasures or vertical embrasures, but this does block you from closing and opening the doors, so I would just leave it open like that. That's pretty much the base complete. Thank you very much for watching.